Hello, Brenda. Can you hear me okay? Turn on your mic, turn on your camera.
Hello.
Hi, Brenda. Go ahead and turn on your camera. I'd like to see your faces.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna turn on the light.
Okay. Hello, Bree. How you doing? Go ahead and turn on your camera and your microphone. I want to see your faces so we're all engaged. Appreciate you guys coming. There we go. Hi, Brenda. How you doing?
Hey, good.
How about you, Bree? Go ahead and turn on your camera. We'll get started. Okay, this is being recorded. Smaller group because we don't have the 650B. Hi, Bree. There you go. We don't have the 650B interns in here because they're doing what you guys will be doing your second semester, their individual development plans, and we're going to have individual meetings on that. And Christina Hardy told me that she won't be here, so we're ready to get going. Okay. First of all, you guys are closing out the fall semester, right?
Yes.
Well, Brenda, when is yours officially end? When's your last day of teaching?
The 21st.
Okay, that's about right. Bree, about the same with you?
We go on break. We have like minimum day the 21st, no school 22nd. But our school runs on a quarter system, so we're
Okay.
actually doing progress reports for second quarter right now.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And as you guys know, this class ends on the 16th, which makes this kind of a short month, which forces you guys to get your stuff in early. Is that going to be an issue with either of you two? Month 4 there?
I'll work on I haven't worked on the lesson plan, but I will submit it and then I'll do a recording next week.
Okay. If you do get crunched, just let me know. I'm okay with that as long as we don't, get into as long as I can get my grades in time. And I think I have to submit those before Christmas. So we're good on that. But shoot for that date, the 16th. If you can't make it, just send me a quick text and let me know. Okay.
So we should send you our lesson plan by next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday at the latest, because
We have to have our lesson plan and recording too by the 16th.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you just want to do the best you can to get those in.
Okay.
And then, of course, your running record, and then your last, make sure your ISV hours are complete. So,
Okay.
Yeah, yep. And then I'm assuming I'm going to have you guys again in the springtime
When
for
is it?
for your 650B.
Yeah. When does that one start?
It depends. Generally, they're going to start in January. That's kind of what I'm assuming they will. So, make sure you keep up on that with your advisor and, you're all plugged in on that. 650B is definitely a lot more work, not from this class, but because you guys will be going through the cycle 1 and cycle 2 teacher performance expectations, and that's a lot of work. But don't worry about that now. Okay. Are both you guys getting pretty comfortable in your class?
Yeah. I am.
Okay. How about you, Bree? Not so much?
Yeah, I just had my second observation and I was moved over to like exceeding practice standard for like 9 different things. So that was really exciting for me.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. Well, I'll tell you, your guys' videos, I enjoy watching them. You guys doing a great job in there. Big improvement. You guys are getting better and better. What we're going to discuss tonight, we'll probably be here till, 20, 25 minutes. We're kind of reflecting back from the PLC meeting that we had last month. And on that, we were talking a lot about assessment. Okay. So what I want to see is, number one, in assessing in general, okay, for you guys, whether it's formal or informal, where are you? How would you rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Not only how effective is your assessing? Are you measuring what you want to measure, and are you getting the results that you hope to get? So think about it for a moment on a scale 1 to 10. Obviously, 1 being awful and 10 being heaven. So Brenda, how about, where would you put yourself at?
I would put myself at 8.
8, okay.
Yes. So wait, is it for their results? Right?
Just overall your feeling on assessing in general. Is it being effective for you? So this is a very general term. We're going to get into a little bit of the detail, but generally speaking is all.
Yeah.
You're an
So it is. But I still see some students behind, and
You're always going to see that. Yeah.
yeah, so that's why it's like an 8, because I see a lot of good results, and then I see like 4 students that are like super behind, and I keep trying to explain to them, but it just seems that they understand a little bit by little, but it takes longer for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to move on. Like, we're ending, like sometimes like I do really have to move on like every week or so, like and I can't keep on going over the same thing because the advanced students also get bored.
Right. There's a balance there, and we can talk about that. Bree, how about you?
I think I informally assess quite a bit. I'm trying to do more summative assessments instead of waiting like such a long period of time, like breaking it up into more manageable chunks for them. So maybe like a mid-unit even. Summarize or summative assess like the first few lessons and then continue on. And that's been helpful to the students. It kind of de-stresses them. Even when I tell them like it's all the same material, them knowing it's broken down into 2 components and they have 2 chances to show me, that kind of thing kind of puts them at ease a little bit. They just had a quiz yesterday and I was really pleased with their results. They put a lot of work in this last lesson, and the quiz showed that. I've been working on leveled questioning, not so much like true false or multiple choice. Like I do some of that, but I'd rather them be able to like apply what we're talking about to a scenario that we didn't talk about in class and use some of those terms and describe some of the physics going on. And to me, that's much more valuable than if they can tell me truth. Like some of that's just tricky. They might understand the content, but the way maybe I designed the question, or even just the setting at the time was, they kind of stressed themselves out. So if they could just kind of have a discussion, whether it be like verbal or writing, and explain like I'm happy with that.
Well, let me say this, Bree, that's I think the highest level of assessing. If a student can turn around and apply it and discuss it, they know it. So, I mean, that's really where you want to be. And I think that's definitely kudos to you. Let me ask you this. Do you find has it slowed down your lesson that you're concerned about it by spending more time on assessing, doing the second try and all that? Has that changed any? Are you worried about the pace of your lesson by spending a
Slightly.
little?
Yeah. So I'm really working on literacy with them as well, like how to pull out main ideas from informational text and like what the most important details from the paragraph were. So it does take a lot more time rather than me just putting up slides, having them read and be like, okay, here's the notes for this passage. But the assessments are showing that it's working. And so that's kind of like a balance and a struggle that I'm having. I asked my principal, I was like, I'm doing these strategies and they're working, but it's taking me so much longer. And it has me nervous because we have the cast at the end of the year. And I don't want to not get through the content that's going to help them be prepared. And she kind of just said, like, that's always the struggle we're in, trying to find that balance. But she's happy with our cast results and being in my classroom, seeing what we have to like keep doing the literacy for now. And if we get into like some dire need, she said it's not always going to be this slow. Right now we're trying this and we're building up some of that endurance. Once they start getting some of those literacy skills down, it'll go quicker and I'll get through more material. So
I was just going to say that, yeah, I was just going to say that it's slowing down now, but it's going to pick up because they will move faster because they're better.
I lose my whole first quarter to science fair. So we don't get into any 8th grade content quarter 1. And so with us only being 4 weeks into quarter 2, I'm just starting the like intro to physics stuff. And so I'm feeling a little bit of pressure because I was at least 2 lessons further last year. But it seems like this group of kids is doing a lot better with similar type questions, not exactly the same, but I'm still worried about it.
It comes down to quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Would you rather have students that are getting value out of your class, or would you rather have students just get a grade?
Yeah.
When you break it down to that, I think the answer is pretty clear, right? And what your admin said to you is right on, and that's what they're all going to say. They're all going to say that same thing. It's a struggle. It's a balance. Okay, but here's what you ask yourself: what is my goal for these kids? Is it to learn something, or is it for them to become learners?
Yeah, so that's been a big topic in our class too, because physical science is dry and they don't think it relates to their life. And so I've been doing a lot of connecting it to like skateboarding, sports, like the things that they enjoy. And then just explaining, like, even though you might not like the content and you don't want to be a physics teacher or do physics one day, you're still learning skills that are going to help you inside and outside of the classroom. Like, you have to learn to do things that you don't necessarily enjoy. You have to learn how to pick out important information from text that's not social media, that's not your favorite magazine. Like, you're always going to have to read and critical think, and those are just skills that we do in here.
So my challenge to both you two, and we'll visit this on 650B, is make, how am I going to say this? How can you make your students more interested in learning? How can you make your students become critical thinkers? And how can you improve the quality of your teaching and not the quantity? Where are you going to find that balance there? And I think I wouldn't worry too much about the balance, to be honest with you, because nobody's going to come to you at the end of the year and have a finish line there saying, did your kids get to this finish line? They're just going to look at the grades. And if you can make a goal of making your students better learners, then you have done them more than any other class. Let me ask you guys this. What can you tell me you learned in 8th grade?
The Greek alphabet.
Okay,
I
that's
You-
one thing,
yeah.
right? Brenda, what can you tell me you learned in the 8th grade that sticks out?
I can't remember.
Okay, and most people are the same way. But here's one thing. Students will remember their best teachers because they taught them how to be people and how to be great learners. Do you remember your best teacher?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, Bree, how about you?
yeah,
Yep,
a biology
down.
teacher. That's why I went into biology.
changed your life, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's how you want to teach. You want to be where you are changing lives by creating active learners, doing exactly what you are doing, Bree, where they are reciting back. They're discussing what they learned. They're not just answering questions. And anybody could do that. Anybody could cheat on that. It has no value, zero value. What has value is the ability to teach something. I mean, think about it. If you teach something, you know it, right? You can't teach something unless you know it. They are teaching because they are applying it. That's the highest level of learning. And that's what I want your goal to be for 650B, is to create the highest level of learning with as many students as you can. And you know what? Even the kids that are the ones that are the bottom dwellers or struggling or whatever the reason, you can get them to be a little bit better. And even if they don't pass your class, but they are better, what's going to do? What is that going to create for their next class? Okay. They're not going to just become one of those statistics of a failing student. They're going to become a passing student. So even the 4, Brenda, that you talked about that you just can't get through to, I want you, another thing to do, I want you to reflect a little bit on that. Okay. Why can you not get through to these kids? Okay. Is it something you're doing or is it them? It's easy to blame them.
Mm-hmm.
But are you doing everything to reach them? And it does, and improvement is improvement. If they go from 50% to 55%, they are better. Progression, to me, is one of the most important fundamental aspects in learning, whether you're learning to be an athlete or a student. Progression is where it's at, because that brings it to you. That brings it to make you accountable and not blame somebody else as a student. Okay, if they are progressing and getting better at any level, the chance of them continuing to improve is going to increase greatly. So that's the one reflection to really focus on. Okay, it's easy to hang your hat on the great kids that are always raising their hand. There's a lot of reward in those kids that are just, a pain in your side. How about a challenge? If you can teach those kids, you can teach anybody, right? Okay, so I want you to keep that in your mind. Now, the only other thing I wanted to talk about was I see in your guys' lesson plans across the board a little bit more self-assessing of the students. Let's spend a few minutes talking about, are your students self-assessing? Well, Brenda, if they are reflecting back, they know the material. Okay. So is there any self-assessing going on in any part of your day with students? Okay, just give me about a minute each on that. Brenda, tell me what you think.
I think there is. So every day, like, I give them something new. and like before they leave, they like reflect back on what they learned for the day, or like even if it's a little piece, like if it's a reflection, like I just make them reflect on whatever they saw.
Mhm.
I give them videos, worksheets, like anything we went through the lesson, and I get really good answers. So I feel that's like an everyday assessment for them.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Okay. Bree, any comments from you?
1 second, I'm gonna open the door.
Yeah, so I've been working on academic conversations, and so that's one of the main ways I can help them self-assess. Like, describe this to your friend. If you find that you're saying or you know what I mean, if those terms are coming up more and more, that's how you know you don't have quite a clear understanding, because you're hoping that they're catching on to what you're saying so you don't have to elaborate. So
Well said.
talk to your friend, and if those things come out, let's stop, look at our notes, have them explain it to you, look at our textbook, look at some of our assignments, let's revisit some of those materials and resources. I shouldn't hear I shouldn't hear, you know what I mean, you know.
Okay. You know what? I love it. I love both your guys' thoughts on that. I really, really do. Because one tool you can really pass on to your students is self-accountability. And that's what self-assessing does. If you hold yourself accountable as a person, you're going to be a lot more successful in life. Okay, think about that for a moment. How easy is it to blame somebody else? And when you blame somebody else, the chance of you doing anything is about zero. Oh, it's that fault. It's their fault. And you can apply that to any aspect of life at any age, whether it's a student failing because they blame the teacher, to someone who's on drugs and homeless because they blame, something else. Self-accountability is where success has the greatest chance of occurring. So by doing self-assessment, you are teaching them a life skill to be accountable to themselves. And then if they're accountable to themselves, if you throw progression on top of that, self-improvement, bit by bit, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, that type of mentality, you're going to teach them to become fanatical learners and very successful people. So those are the two things I want to leave you with tonight is the value in self-assessing, and you guys are both onto that. And I know Christina, who's going to be listening to this, does it as well. And the value of accountability, holding themselves responsible for their actions. Think about that. Think about how different this world would be if everyone was accountable to themselves, not relying on somebody else to pull them up by their bootstraps, right? You just took care of it yourself and you're going to get it done.
So
you
two
apply that to anything.
practices.
Yeah, go ahead.
Two practices that I've like really been hitting home Q2, because I keep telling my students, like, I feel like I only have a month or two left with you, because it's break and we come back and then there's spring break and then it's getting ready for graduation. Like, you're basically high schoolers now, so we've got to really step it up. And so when they're like, well, you gave me this grade, I'm like, no, you earned that grade. And so that's the first thing I'll say. And then when they want to look at their grades to see any missing assignment or low scores, what can they do? The first thing I'm going to ask them is, well, what did you tell me what you did to prepare for this? So, did we do our assignments? Because I created an assignment. Did you do your part? No. Okay. What about lessons? Like, I had lots of examples. I jumped around the room. What were you doing when we were doing lessons? And you have to admit, well, I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, okay, so you need to reteach. I will reteach you. Here's homework club hours. Am I going to see you there? those kinds of things. So I make them take ownership of what they didn't do before I'm willing to extend more help.
Bree, you are beyond your years in experience and knowledge, because that is so powerful. That
Well,
is so
thank you.
powerful. And it is so effective. Your kids are going to remember you, and Brenda the same thing, because you guys are way beyond new teachers. Okay, this is what makes great teachers, the ability to do that. You guys already have it. So you know, I love that, and let's build on that for semester 2. Not worry so much about getting the curriculum done. We're going to make terrific self-assessing, accountable learners.
Yeah, I just struggle with the pacing because there's for 8th grade at my school, it's split between me and another teacher. He teaches half of 7th, half of 8th. He's actually my like SSP. I think that's what he's called. Yeah. We have to be very similar on pace, and we have very different styles. And so he's like ready to blow through things, and I'm going a little bit slower, but we need
You're
to be
doing it right.
similar in case our students are, you know, transferred from each other's classes, that kind of thing. And so I feel like a little bit of pressure from like an administrative standpoint. Like I know I'm doing good teacher practices, but there's still some administrative boundaries I got to work within.
Understood. And here's one suggestion. If you're teaching the kids accountability, right? You know, Mary, this class has to move forward. And we cannot hold it back because you have not been accountable to learning the material the right way. Approach it from that standpoint. And that's, again, teaching them accountability. You know, and if you have to give them some extra credit to get them caught up once, okay, I'm going to get you caught up once, but we're moving on. And then you'll at least be caught up, but I'm not going to do it again. We need to be accountable. But, you know, I think you're doing terrific. And I think your SSP, no, I'll tell you this right now. I was a teacher for many, many years. When students transfer from one teacher to the other, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be an adjustment.
Yeah.
2 teachers are perfectly in line. It never happens. So just do your best, but stick to what you're doing now. Okay. Well, that's it for tonight. I think this was good quality here. I think I left you guys some good nuggets, and you guys are doing a heck of a job. Like I say, you're advanced beyond your years, and your teaching career is just going to be so much fun because you got the right mindset. So I look forward to, you know, finishing your last things, and then we'll catch up with you guys, I believe, in January.
Thank you.
If you have any last questions, go ahead and ask, but we're done.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, Brenda.
Happy holidays.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bree. You too. Have a good one.